And we are live. Hello, guys, and welcome to Jason Hebert Live. If you are unfamiliar with the show, what we do here is interview the loved ones of missing persons and unsolved homicides to help spread awareness, get the word out there, bring justice, and hopefully help bring people home, solve cases. Today, buddies, please stop. Sorry, guys, that's my dog. My new dog. Today, our guest is a little late. So I am kind of buying a little time for them. We'll get into that in a moment. And we'll read a little bit about the case. I'm going to kind of take it a little slow to give time for people to come into the room, as well as give time for the guests to get here. I'm curious as to what people think about. Hey, stop! You got to stop. Sorry, guys. About what people think as far as So as of right now, we do the show live, as you know, which is literally live, me sitting here and responding to your comments and things like that. There's a way to do the show live where I actually pre-record the interview, and then I can post up that pre-recorded video live, and I'll be in the chat communicating with you guys, so you won't see me on camera talking to you, responding to the comments, but I will be in the chat responding. Wondering what you guys would think of that, because if you've been following our show for a while, you know that when you do a show live, oh boy, there's quite a lot of things that can go wrong, whether it's my lack of technical know-how, the guest lack of technical know-how, or many other things like people getting stressed out and scared to come on. Okay, so we're waiting for the guest. They should be just here. That was them responding to me. Hello to BC, Kaleidoscope of Crime, Mary, Lance. What's up, guys? We'll give it just a moment, and we should have Karlee and Taylor on. But I'm wondering what you guys, once this uploads, you guys can respond in the comments and tell me what you think about doing the show that way. So it would still appear live to you, and you would still talk to me live. I would just be in the comments. Thank you. No, not a preview, Kaleidoscope. I would actually record everything beforehand, put it up, and then I can post it as a live. So it will be live to you. The only difference is it would be pre-recorded, but it would still look like this, and it would still all be the same. I just couldn't respond to the comments live because it would be pre-recorded. But you would be seeing it. It would appear as a live, and it would come right up. Hey, Krista, TLS, what's up, guys? Yeah, so I'd be in the chat answering the questions. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to pose them to the guests. Yeah, see, that's the thing is that's like my differentiator. I feel like, but it's a good differentiator, but it starts to not feel as good of a differentiator when this is our 6th show back, and I think 3 of them have had to be rescheduled already. So I just start to really feel unreliable, when that keeps happening, and I wonder what the audience is thinking. Might make things easy. It will make things easier for me. The question is, will it ruin the show? I already have a lot of other things I want to implement in the show. We'll talk about that another time. Just different segments and formats and lots of things. But I have a lot of things I can do. I try to be somewhat unique. If I just sit there and talk about cases, there are so many people that do that well already. Hey, Cyrus, glad to be back. Thank you so much to everyone. The only reason that we can do this somewhat consistently right now is because of you guys, as you can see in the bottom there, talking about support and everything, because of you guys that support the channel. If you do support via the super chat or anything like that, what is it, PayPal, Cash App, you get an entry to win a true crime book or DVD of your choosing. So thank you so much to everyone who is able to support. Plus, you'll obviously get a shout out on camera as well. That's the only reason we can even do the show consistently. Give me one sec, guys. This is the guest messaging. Okay, she says about to log on. So we should have her any minute. Yeah, so why don't I start? I can start reading. Okay, here she is on. Okay, guys, I do see you down there. Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, just give me 1 minute. I didn't get into the case till I had you guys. I'm going to read the little excerpt, and then I'll bring you guys on. So you can stay just like you are. All right? All right. So let's let's read this excerpt here. This is from, I apologize, from uncovered.com. Karlee, who's one of tonight's guests, the daughter of Karen Bodine, she is a big fan of this website, and she approved that we can read this kind of as a little catch up so you guys know what's going on in the case. Okay. So it's been over 15 years since Karen Bodine was murdered. Her nude body posed and left near a Washington state gravel pit. Who killed Karen Bodine? She was a 37-year-old mother of three living in Olympia, Washington. She was loving and creative, known to streak her hair with pink highlights and leave secret notes in her kids' school notebooks as a way to let them know she was thinking of them. Oh, that's sweet. While she struggled with substance abuse, her family and friends remember her as a loving mother, daughter, and friend. The last time Karen was seen alive was on Sunday, January 21st, 2007. Karen was wandering through the streets of Lacey, Washington, when a neighbor noticed her and called the police. Just as a quick aside, it's very odd for me as I get older to read dates, and I kind of remember like what I was doing at that time. I don't know if that's weird for anyone else when you see a date that you go, "Oh, that was like that week I was going through that." It's a strange thing for me to see that. Whereas when you're younger, of course, everything happens before you're old enough to recall it. But the older you get, the more you remember what you were doing at the time. But when police arrived, Karen brushed them off, telling them she was fine despite. I'm sorry, I'll start again. So on Sunday, January 21st, 2007, this is the last time Karen was seen alive. She was wandering through the streets of Lacey, Washington, when a neighbor noticed her and called the police. When police arrived, Karen brushed them off, telling them she was fine, despite not wearing a winter coat in the cold weather. After lots of insisting, the police officer left. At the time, Karen was staying with a friend. She had left her parents' home after an intense domestic incident with her boyfriend, resulting in a protection order. I remember we talked about that friend quite a bit, so I'm assuming we're going to again today as well. This is a case we have done in the past, guys, but it's been quite a while, so we're going to be presenting it again, kind of as like a brand new case. The next day, Monday, January 22nd, Karen was staying with that same friend and many other house guests at the time who were known to do drugs. They reported seeing her around 3 a.m. when she left the house on foot. This would be the last time Karen would be seen alive. The next morning, on January 23rd, 2007, Karen's nude body was discovered at the entrance of a gravel pit on Little Rock Road in Rochester, Washington. Approximately 30 miles from her home. A witness would tell police they saw a small brown early 1980s Datsun with a lighter color camper shell seen around 7:50 a.m. at the gravel road entrance. Despite being found in an unnatural position, investigators determined that there were no signs of sexual assault, but she was strangled. Her body was left in a position that would suggest that the murderer, quote, wanted the shock value. So she was kind of like posed on a car seat, as you probably saw in the thumbnail. And Karlee and Taylor will go over it further, of course. But yeah, she was essentially posed. So really weird. That's why they're saying wanted the shock value. Additionally, Karen was completely nude with a ligature around her neck. Multiple DNA profiles were identified on the ligature and sent off for testing, which has still not been shared to this day. Law enforcement is hoping advancements in DNA technology will result in answers. The detective in the case is quoted as saying, quote, when you have a case that has as little evidence as this one does and has gone on as long as it has, more than one person is probably involved. Where the case stands today. It's been 15 years and Karen's case remains unsolved, but her children, who we have on today, are still actively fighting for answers for their mother. In 2019, her children participated in a Crime Con, a sponsored event aimed at sharing details of her case with the public in hopes of finding additional information. Earlier this year, her case was featured on Still a Mystery, a community betrayal on the ID channel, Investigation Discovery. Her daughter Karlee also maintains several billboards in the area where she was last seen, hoping someone will come forward with information. But all these years later, her family is still left wondering who killed Karen. Was she a victim of a random attack or something more sinister? Can the DNA collected at the scene lead to answers? If you have any information regarding Karen's case, please call Crime Stoppers of the South Sound. Yeah, Crime Stoppers of the South Sound at 1-800-222-TIPS or Detective Mickey Hamilton at 360-786-5279. So today we are going to bring on Karlee and Taylor, who are Karen's daughters. Hi, girls. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Karlee. Nice to see you. And Taylor, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, sorry, we had a little bit of trouble there connecting in the beginning, so we weren't kind of able to prep and go over everything. But Karlee's kind of an expert at this point as far as my show and how it works. So I'm sure she can kind of help guide things along. Karlee, like we had kind of talked about in the text, I'm just gonna have you guys present it as if we've never done a show before, because obviously there's a lot more people that are subscribed now, even though we're just kind of coming back after a really long layoff, so a lot of the views come after versus live. But yeah, so you can just kind of start off. Either you or Taylor can go first, however you prefer. Can just start off by telling us a little bit about your mom, just in general, and then kind of lead us into the events that everything that you feel is relevant or possibly relevant to her homicide.
Um, my name is Karlee Bodine, and my mom was Karen Bodine. I'm the oldest daughter. She had 3 kids. She was a great mom. Actually, Valentine's Day is tomorrow, and she was my first Valentine's ever. She would always give us chocolate and cards and everything. That was always fun. Um, Unfortunately, it's been 17 years since she was murdered. We just had the anniversary on January 22nd. Um, there are new items getting there's items getting tested that have never been tested before. So we're getting some new testing at the lab, which is really exciting. So I mean, we're that much closer to getting it done.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought I was muted.
Um, so yeah, like Karlee said, it's been 17 years now. So for me, that is just about as long as, or actually a little longer than time I had with her. I was 15. Yeah, 15, just turned maybe 16 when she passed away. So that is pretty significant, to me, these like last year or so, just kind of feeling that impact of it. The memories get less and less vivid each year. So that's kind of painful. You hang on to those as hard as you can. But something that, we haven't really been able to thoroughly just enjoy those good memories because it's still, it's a cold case. So we have a lot of judging up of that particular day that we still have to do. And things aren't so fun like that. So it is important to talk about, though, and we want everyone to know as much as we do. So we're here to share that information. We could start with the day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, since Karlee has kind of done this already, kind of spoke. Do you want to kind of lead us through the events, kind of from your perspective?
Yeah, Taylor.
Oh, sure, yeah. So I was a freshman in high school, like I said, and it was finals week, so we had a half day actually. And I was coming back to school in the afternoon for my basketball practice. And they were talking about it on the radio, kind of like the AM radio my grandma always listened to. And she, told me to actually take out my headphones and to pay attention because they had passed the site actually, where her body was found that morning. They had driven past it, and we, didn't know at that point who it was, that it was our mom, her daughter. So she was just interested as, a bystander who had been right there that morning. So I go to basketball practice and was supposed to go to like a team bonding event, and it wasn't until my grandpa showed back up about halfway through that practice that I knew something was wrong. And yeah, he told me before, just as we were getting into the car, he told me and we just cried on the way home, and I don't remember much other than, policemen being there, and it wasn't until, after that and first initial night of trying to, like, really piece together that it was, it's a crime and that we have to also work through this as a family. So yeah, we knew that she was found on the side of the road and that she had turmoil with her boyfriend.
But it was a suspicious death at that point.
Yeah. And her boyfriend at the time had been a long part of her life, we'd known him for a good couple of years, but not, in a, anything more than just a really superficial way, so as like a kid, that's where my mind goes, how he must have something to do with it or in not keeping my mom safe.
That's what I thought too.
So it wasn't until I was a little older that I realized, there's so much more going on, especially in our parents' worlds, that we don't know about. And that's where, the knowledge of the house that she'd been actually staying at just down the road from her boyfriend's after their domestic dispute.
Yeah, can you kind of just get into that a little bit? So she's living with the boyfriend, or she was, and then she had moved out and was living in a house close to there. Can you go over exactly what was going on there and all the other roommates and all that?
Yeah, so in Washington State, when there's a domestic issue, someone needs to leave, and I believe it's just through the state that there was like a no contact order placed, so she did need to find a friend to stay with, and that was a friend of her boyfriend's, actually, like had become a mutual friend of theirs who was just down the street,
within walking distance. Yeah.
So she was staying nearby, and from what I know, did not have any more contact with the boyfriend. So the house that she did end up staying at, though, was kind of like a crash house, like a party house, and
she knows these people through her boyfriend. It's his friend.
Yeah. Coming home to our parents' house, would have been an option for her, but things in hindsight are so much easier said than done. So not that it wasn't an open door, but our grandparents also had to protect us as young children, and so for whatever reason she chose to deal with these issues on her own instead of bringing us all into that. But it led to not being in a safe place, and from what we know, there was just some issues with the amount of people in the house, like the volume of people and the comings and goings, and there was another domestic, not that it was a romantic issue, but when you're living together, it's still a domestic dispute. Yeah. I believe. Yeah,
we could have a domestic dispute.
Yeah. And there is evidence of that dispute. That
definitely
has been found and been photographed. That's in
like it's established. It's part of the timeline. It did happen. So
there's definitely a violent encounter from the house. Although that's not where she was last seen. I mean, I'd say
you're talking. I'm sorry, you're talking about from the boyfriend's house. There was about
from where she was staying.
Oh, after she. I'm sorry. Okay,
yeah. Oh, guess.
But the cops weren't called on this domestic dispute, but there was an altercation.
So she has the one with the boyfriend. The cops are called. She leaves. As far as anyone knows, that's the last time she sees him.
Yeah.
She goes to the new house, and there's another thing.
Yeah, that it was her mom, and they were able to trace back to where she had been staying. They realized it wasn't actually with her boyfriend. They moved to go to the neighbor's house, and they I believe they got a warrant for his house, and all they were able to really come up with was those things, like that a fight had taken place, and there's verbal witnesses to back that up.
But they don't know why it happened or anything like that. But it did happen, and there was,
in my opinion, they do know that, it's just kind of like witnesses who are maybe scared and they only share, part of what they actually know. So, that, for me, that right there, there's plenty of people just knowing what kind of house that was and was that night, proven to be that many people saw what was the catalyst of what was to come. You know, whether they might not have known it at that point, but you know, what we know now, what took place in that house was probably definitely the catalyst of what later happened.
But yeah, people are too afraid to talk, or they might not remember everything. And so even though there was a plethora of people, we still don't have the whole story.
And plus, there's drugs involved, so some people might be scared to say something.
Yeah.
They don't want to get in trouble, kind of thing. Oh, that was my computer. Sorry, the screen went black. So, and yeah, did you say 3 roommates there besides her?
2 to 3 that stayed there all the time, but it was also, they had friends coming and everything. Yeah, so it was quite the busy house. And there was a band there. They had some kind of garage band going on.
I'd say from our knowledge, our takeaway, you know, there's one guy that owns the house. And I would say that he is enough of an authority figure to, you know, no one in that house has as much say as he does. Does that make sense? So everything that comes and goes through that house would be through this one person. That's why with the lack of evidence, when you were reading that description and the police had said, with something that's taken this long to solve, it's likely that there's more than one person involved. I think that's kind of where that comes into play. A scarier, bigger person with no, I don't want to say giving orders, but you know, with people.
That's kind of what it is, though.
Yeah, that works with people that he knows he can scare, possibly. You know what I mean?
Scare into submission to do what he wants. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, not being in the greatest walks of life, you know, in that time.
So you think, and again, of course, we don't know. Anything that we say is alleged. We're not accusing anyone of anything, but
yeah, good disclaimer.
Yeah, I always gotta say that just to be safe.
And everyone we're talking about are persons of interest, not suspects. But
okay. And so, do you know everyone that was in that house? I mean, you know, obviously the 2 or 3 people, but do you know everyone that was crashing there? I remember in the past that you talked about the friend could have maybe had a thing for your mother too. That was a thing, right?
Yeah, there was a roommate that kind of liked her, Bill Smith.
That, and there's also was talk of known to be like maybe some women there with you know, some jealousy issues, kind of.
Right.
You know, I can only imagine how that would go. So
I mean, I've even heard that recently.
Yeah,
that women were jealous of my mom, and it would cause conflicts and everything because people's boyfriends would go over there
and they wouldn't know what they're doing there. Yeah, I can see that. What okay, so I know that there is some new info. Is how sometimes the police can't tell you everything. How much of what's going on do you know? Is it leading you in a certain direction that you didn't think of before? What's going on that's kind of newer?
They haven't given us specifics, but new stuff is like stuff that they had originally, like all the evidence. They're testing some of it that I guess hasn't been tested or hasn't been tested with new technology. And so that's a big step, and we're probably going to get a lot of answers from that. So we're a lot closer to solving it than a lot of people realize. And the people that are involved, I hope you're hearing this. We're getting close. We're coming for you.
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely a reason and hope for me, you know, that they, like as we were talking about, have not really changed since the beginning. You know, it's been same names, you know, keep coming up. So I truly believe it's only a matter of time and patience on our end that we will be able to gather, whether it's through, you know, DNA technology or just, you know, faith in people that we'll be able to come up with what we need.
And I can't mention names, but one of the people that hung around that house, they have the same vehicle that was supposedly seen at the site where she was left.
The Datsun?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys need a second? I know you're trying to say something not too loud. Just be careful if you don't want something sitting in the mic.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's been talked about since the beginning. You know, that because although it's a decently traveled road where she was found, not at certain hours. You know, it can also be a very quiet road, and we do have some sightings of some specific vehicles out of odd times. And I would say, as far as the posing of the body, when it comes down to that, my first thought, even initially way back then, was, why right there on the side of the road? It was so close, like a more quarry kind of area. It'd be so much easier to go 20 more feet.
Lots of other spots.
And it would have been days, weeks,
who knows?
Who knows? So for whatever reason, no one knows yet, but for me, and this is just my theory, it's less, in my opinion, of a thing like an Israel keys or like some kind of trademark.
That's what I was just gonna say. The posing sounds
like some kind of deeper, like emotional connection. Yeah, and like hoping that she would be found sooner than later. In some kind of, whether it's preservation of just soul, mind, body, spirit, and any kind of emotion they might have to her family, that if they know her at all, they would have heard she has kids and family. So so in my mind, that's why I do believe it's more than one person, and I believe that it was, I wouldn't say crime of passion, but it was
I get that gut instinct too. I don't think it was posed for like a super shock value, like look at what we did. It's more like, oh snap,
or like this could happen to you. Like,
it's like, oh no, this happened. Let's at least give her a little bit of dignity in death. Like,
and that's why maybe
so it's someone who cared about her
that left her there. I think there's maybe two different
I
people.
think we think maybe this is all guessing, but we think that like maybe someone actually did the deed, and then someone else brought her out there.
It will be someone that cared about her, right? Because if you're
more so than
or wishes that didn't never happened.
Sarge, if I could just real quick, Sarge asks, where did they get the new evidence to test after this long?
There was some stuff that hadn't ever been tested, and there's stuff that's getting tested with new technology.
So with DNA, I wasn't quite aware until I was older, and this is specific to our life, that when you have only so much DNA, you can only test it so many times until that's gone. My understanding, they did preserve some of it to wait for technology to further, so that it would be that much more testable, and we'd have that much more.
There's a finite amount, and littler and littler every time, and even if it's littler, it's hard to test too. And there's just little specifics that you don't think about. Like when you watch Law and Order, it's solved in an hour because of the DNA. It's not like that in life.
Yeah.
No, it's very difficult, and like you said, I don't know the exact science, but you destroy a little bit of each time until there's nothing left.
Yes.
Do you, if you can't say names, that's okay, but do you, with this new evidence and stuff, do you think you know who the people are, or?
Well, I learned a lot at CrimeCon, as far as, there's a lot that we have to filter, whether, it's through what we get sent on social media or just like at CrimeCon. Luckily, what we went through had already been filtered through the investigators, but that's part of why I've come up with the, theories that I have, over, one person maybe calling the shots and then other people having to clean up after for them. Sorry, what was the initial question again? I lost.
No, so you formed the theory that someone was kind of in control.
Oh, so
and kind of leading it. And
there was somebody that had, and all of of course, with all of these, witnesses or people that were there, claimed to have been there, or were interviewed at the time, their state of mind, is taken with a grain of salt. But there was someone, and I think you're gonna know who I'm talking about, that was living there. People would come and go, but he was living there, and he showed a lot of, just a lot of, I guess, remorse.
Yeah,
I wonder why maybe this person themselves hasn't yet said anything, but I guess the CrimeCon was very helpful. And I did learn a lot of like specific names and facts, like call logs and interviews that had taken place and why they either didn't go forward or whether they were interviewed multiple times. So that's kind of what I keep going back to, the details that were given to us at CrimeCon, because those were quite extensive.
Oh, also, we have a new sheriff, and he seems a little more interested in solving not just this case, but a bunch of the cold cases around. He meets with us regularly now, and that's just, it makes our family feel better after so long.
Because you had some that weren't so great, right, over the years.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you something real quickly? Can we talk about like kidnapping or not? We're not supposed to. Kidnapping. Okay, so yeah. So one reason I brought up the women and maybe the jealousy or vindictive relationships was I wasn't aware that I believe a couple months prior to her death,
I think it was more recent than that, but anyways.
Yeah, within a couple months, she had been lured into a car kind of to go on like an outing with a girlfriend, someone who would also come and go from the house, and they actually ended up taking her down. It's about 20 miles it's called Johnson Point, so just down along the bay, and just dropping her off there and leaving her there, thinking that it was far enough and rural enough she would not.
Well, and as ridiculous as this was, they have those signs at the beach that says like don't pick up shellfish and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly one of the things was they were hoping she would either get lost or illegally pick up shellfish and get arrested, which is really asinine. But
yeah, either in their minds, their intention was to get rid of her, and they'd actually at CrimeCon they were in the midst of how do I say this, solidifying that kidnapping charge to actually go after someone for it, and that has taken a pause, and I won't name a name, but that was a woman, and it's a woman that has come up also in regards to the murder investigation.
How close was this? You said a couple months to when she.
Also, I think it was a little sooner, but
so she was murdered in January, and I would say because the weather was also not great again, which was part of their thinking terrible conditions. I'd say maybe fall.
So this person essentially tried to kidnap her and get rid of her some way.
He didn't want to go on this outing to begin with. I can remember this very well from CrimeCon, and someone actually coerced her to get into the car with the woman.
I see. So that if I'm reading between the lines, when you're not to interrupt, I'm sorry, but when you're saying someone was in control and someone did the deed, it's probably like a woman having a guy do the dirty work that she can't do herself, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it could be kind of. It sounds like this, kidnapping. In her mind, I don't think that she thought that's what she would be able to be charged with, technically. But that's what it was. So, whether it's this woman and not being able to be,
and she's not
as forceful as she would like, that happens all the time. Getting a man, someone more masculine to do it for you, or,
and a woman would have a reason, right? Jealousy would be her motive.
Yeah. Less attention when this woman is around, you want her.
Do you know what surprises me a lot is that cases that involve drug usage, especially when there's a lot of people, and I'm not talking about your mom or anything, just the whole house and everything. You have so many people. Typically, people can't keep their mouths shut. That people start getting dope sick, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's kind of why, in my mind, I've just wondered, like, who in this narrative over the years has fallen off,
Or
or
who's gotten sober. Or...
Yeah, how exactly is it that all of these mouths are being kept?
Exactly.
Well,
We also hear more or less a very similar version from multiple people, and I think, I don't know, some of the lack of credibility comes that they do differ on this or that, and in the eyes of the law, someone that has, criminal record or drug abuse, substance abuse issues, is their word is not always trusted. So it's hard to rely on that, even when someone does truly want to do the right thing, so we're aware that makes this case even that much harder,
But even in my shirt, it says Karen Bodine, but on the back, hopefully they can see it, it says someone knows something.
I always say that.
Yeah. I mean, somebody
does
like
100%, and multiple people actually
in that house. Yeah, someone knows
somebody knows exactly what happened. Yeah.
Can just a few questions. Sarge asked the cause of death. I believe the ligature was the official cause of death, right? Strangulation.
Yes. Strangulation.
Okay, and then Kaleidoscope says how long before her death was the kidnapping? You said within a couple of months, and she asked, does the perpetrator, meaning the woman who perpetrated the kidnapping or whatever exactly she was trying to do, does she have a history of violence?
Yes.
She's done, I know she's done lots of, jail time, right? Yeah. I mean, she's currently in and out of the system. So, they do have their eye on her. They know she's more or less not really going anywhere. So, also, yeah, we just keep listening to the right piece of information that we need on these names that keep coming up. Unfortunately, because I'm tired of hearing them.
Yeah,
I'm sure you are.
Yeah, to do about it.
Is this woman still together with the guy that she was with at that time?
They're still best friends.
They're still best friends. Okay.
So
that to me, that's one way things could stay. If you're still friends, you find like if there's a crime and they go like 20 years later to the woman, she no longer has loyalty to the guy. She's like, I'll tell you what he did.
That's what we're hoping eventually.
Yeah.
So can you just quickly go over and the reason I'm asking you this, just so you know, for anyone in the area who may know one or more of these people who may say, oh, wait a minute, I remember what Joey Johnson was doing that night or whatever. Can you just go over all the people in the house? Like, you don't have to give their whole names, of course. And again, we're not accusing them or anything, but like, first name, kind of how they knew your mother, what their situation was, and anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, please like the video, guys, by the way.
So our mom again is, Karen Bodine.
Right.
At the time that she passed away, she was 38. The house that she was staying at is near a church, a pretty good sized church in the community that she would sometimes use the phone by, to call us. Also a senior citizens center. In the driveway, if this is helping jog anyone's memories, it's a small house. There's also a motorhome parked in the driveway that, is also resident, coming, going. You might have hung out in the motorhome. You might have hung out in the house. It sounds like
the house is gone now. They tore it down.
As of recent.
Yeah, recent. Like within the last year or two, they tore the house down.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, when they did go back with a search warrant, they did search the motorhome, which they took things out of that were not related to the case, unfortunately. So, you might have partied in the motorhome instead of the house.
Right.
But, let's see.
Yeah. Just kind of who each person was that was there at that time.
I know. There's a homeowner. I believe actually they were doing some kind of garage or some kind of band practice that night. So I don't know, like, even if they have a band name, but it is just a bunch of guys that get together, kind of play their instruments. Probably not.
I think it was a very loose band practice.
Yeah.
I do know that there was something related to the band going on that night. There's probably some.
I remember her calling me multiple times, from that person's house and be like, they're band practice. They've been doing it for hours. I'm so bored.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the people, so definitely there would be what, at least 3 or 4 guys, and then I know there was probably at least 3 or 4
Yeah,
women
we're not really
there.
supposed to mention names exactly.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep. But there was some
Painting a
regulars.
picture,
Yeah.
small house. Think of band.
Small house. Are all the? I know you said the woman and the man are still like best friends. Are all these people still somewhat in the same group or crew or whatever you want to call it? I mean,
yeah, they're still all.
this is a tight knit. I'm surprised this many people who do drugs can kind of stay
I
that
know.
tight. You know?
Yeah. Well, there's probably a reason for it.
Yeah, right. And to protect something, maybe protect a secret. Yeah, I mean, because that's. I know you can't say too much, but I'm gonna guess that's the direction you're leaning in. Is someone in that house, right? I mean, you'd have to.
That's what we're hoping. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been rumors about like Israel Keys and stuff, and we can't
I remember that.
rule that out. But it's more realistic that it was someone she knew, and within the time period of where she was at within the last few days.
And you said one of the persons has a car similar to that Datsun.
Yep. That was spotted at the scene where she was left. Yep.
Yeah.
What was the exact scene where she was left? This cross streets? I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Sergeant Little Rock Road at the rock quarry, or is it a rock quarry? No, it's the
it's like the
refuse site.
Yeah, I forget what it's called exactly, but
I'm sorry, I didn't know if I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I know that you guys also wanted to let everyone know about a honkin' drive, and there's a few things things coming up that you guys wanted to make everyone aware of. Do you want to go over like dates and times and the plans for all that?
What day?
I was gonna do a honkin' wave coming up. I don't have the exact date set yet, but pretty soon here. It's just when I go to a busy intersection and I hold up signs for mom and bring awareness and all that. People honk. Everything's why it's a honkin' wave. It's a small event. It doesn't cost any money. It's free to go do that, but it brings a lot of awareness to the case. Sadly, some people around here have heard about it 17 years ago, but they also think it might have been solved because it's not talked about all the time. So it's hard, but it's good to bring the community to let them know that everything's not solved, and that mom is remembered.
So, okay. Well, whenever you know the date, just let me know and I can put out on my community page and my Facebook and everything if you want people to come, anyone that's local. Sarge asked, what was the story the homeowner gave as to what happened that night?
That she just left, right?
Yeah, I would say that, so I believe what they said happened, after they were, they come back and they check the house, and they see evidence of a domestic issue, a physical assault going on, or that had happened. Yeah, it was said that they'd just collected her things, in a trash bag and put it on the side, and that she was just gone. I don't remember ever recalling the police. We do have the police's reaction from telling her boyfriend, who she was no longer living with. But I don't actually even remember them ever going into detail over breaking the news to.
I do, and to Kevin.
Oh, I do remember.
He laughed and was
he said,
and...
no, he did say to the detective, I think he said, let me guess, somebody killed that B word, which is right.
Someone strangled that.
Yeah, he said.
He said that to the cops.
That's what happened.
He called it. He's like, oh, someone finally strangled that lady, which is like, how would you even?
It was very telling.
Yeah.
To me. So that, and then honestly, I'm not really sure where they lost the thread. To be quite honest. I remember them being overwhelmed, honestly, with the amount of people at like present time, when all this was going on, with the amount of people at the house, even just being 2 detectives there to speak to them. which, you know, as a family looking for justice, that's hard to hear, you know.
It's surprising.
Yeah. There's that, and I mean, going back onto the police officer that stopped her, you know, that night, it's hard not to ask yourself, like, you know, how could that not have prevented what was to come? But, you know, even if they did ask her if there was something going on where she was staying, if she's scared of them already, that's only in her mind, you know, gonna put her in an even scarier position, you know, as soon as those cops pull out of the driveway. And I don't think she was, you know, looking for that, obviously, or for looking, you know, what happened. So, although, yeah, that was part of that night, I just, I don't try to forget about that part. It is an important part of the timeline and everything. Yeah. But I think it's more important to focus on what happened at that house, mm-hmm. and who was there.
Yeah, Sarge says, strange they didn't all scatter and leave the house. Yeah, I'm surprised that this group is surprisingly tight and effective for some
weirdly.
Yeah. Also Karlee can do it as well, of course, but I'm kind of focusing on Taylor just because she hasn't done something like this part here. Do you want to speak directly to? I'm going to put myself off screen, like. And it'll just show you. Do you want to speak directly? And then Karlee, you can also as well if you'd like, but to anyone who might have information that is either scared to come forward or for whatever reason just thinks you might already know what they know or whatever, just let everyone know, you know, how bad this has affected your family, what it would mean to you to finally have it solved. And if they did come forward, and just let them know how important it is for them to come forward with any bit of information they may have.
Yeah, I mean, it is so important. Now I can't say how many times I have called the police or stopped someone and asked if they were okay just because of this they really might not be. And if someone would have stopped and helped, or if someone would have spoken up or called for you, how many things are preventable. So to you, I will say it's not too late. It's already a cold case to us. We've lived that for 17 years. To me, it's just every day that goes by is one more closer day that it'll get solved. Because I do believe it'll get solved, whether it's someone finally coming forward or us breaking it all down finally. But say something, even if you don't think it's that important. Yep. And if you don't think it got into the right hands and you think it is important, then keep calling and keep saying the same thing over. You know, mm-hmm. Papers get lost, memos get lost. Sometimes you need to repeat yourself, and that's okay too. And to the person that did it, I don't even want to waste my time with pleading for you to come forward, but I am confident that you know, the day will come where this is all out in the open, where your name's out in the open, and you'll have your head down and handcuffs on, honestly.
Yeah, we're not mad. We just want answers and closure, and I think that's very fair to ask. And yeah, to the person that did this, we're done. We don't want to waste our time with you. We just want closure, and so we can remember our mother in peace, and we don't have to think about you.
And I just want to say, I pray the next time that we do talk or do a show is a celebration show.
Yeah.
For it to finally be answered.
That day is coming.
I know. Well, do you have an estimate as far as when the police have told you when you can look forward to something, or is it still kind of up in the air?
That's still kind of up in the air. We do have a meeting with them soon, so hopefully we'll learn some new stuff, but that's all we know for now.
Okay, and if anyone wants to send information to you guys, obviously we already went over the police department's number. What's the department again? Is it Olympia?
Yeah. It's Thurston County Police.
Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, Sheriff's Department. So.
Okay.
At Thurston.
I know I said it at the beginning there. I also have Karlee's profile in the description. Taylor, do you want me to put your profile as somewhere people can contact you if they want to give you something directly?
Yeah, I'm the head administrator. I mean, we're both administrators of the Facebook page, Karen Bodine, Justice for my our mother's homicide, I believe is what it is. And then you can just find me, Taylor Bodine, on Facebook as well.
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
The phone number for the department is 360-786-5500.
And I think there's what was it, Crime Stoppers, the other one we went over, just in case for whatever reason someone wants to do it anonymously or whatever. It's what
I think it's $1,000 reward for Crime Stoppers if you have information leading to an arrest, and you can remain anonymous.
Yeah, and that's 1-800-222-TIPS, and TIPS is 8477. So 1-800-222-8477. Was there anything else? I mean, other than I know you don't know the date of the honkin' wave or any of that other stuff.
It's coming soon. It's just the weather's bad, so I don't want to do it on a really icky day.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Just as soon as you know, let us know. And is there anything else that you wanted to make sure it gets out there that I didn't think to ask, or anyone in chat didn't think to ask?
Yeah, no, not so much.
I think we covered all the bases.
Yeah, it's always good just to get it out there and make sure it's refreshed so everybody. It's kind of a weird, I don't know if Taylor's familiar, but it's kind of a weird time in the channel because I kind of didn't do a lot of shows for like 2 years. I was kind of off. So I'm kind of rebuilding it back up. That's why there's typically a lot more people on the lives and stuff like that. But we're just building it back up. So it'll, within the next coming months, a lot more people will see this video. And believe me, it will have been well worth it because it's been a couple of years.
Yeah, if we've been waiting for a while, we can wait a little longer.
Yeah, right, yeah. It's 2000s. It's just so I'm sorry. I said sometimes like it's my headphones and there's a delay, so I can't tell. Were you guys about to say something?
I was just sitting here thinking my wheels are spinning. Even thinking how much older we've gotten since this has happened. Maybe ask your family members. Like, hey, did you go to school with Karen Bodine, or did you know Karen? And see if you get any kind of reaction out of them, or what it sparks in them, or if they can tell you anything that they knew, maybe a nice story about her. But
we always love hearing that.
But I just, we get less and less confident that these people's conscience is going to weigh on them.
Right.
But I mean, it's a puzzle. So the more people we have helping to put this puzzle together, and shedding light on these individuals, like I said, you might be able to help in a way that you don't know.
Very well worded.
If you know,
it is a puzzle, and we're just missing a few pieces.
Yeah.
That's how it is. It just takes that one little piece, and it doesn't have to be a big piece, but when it fits in with other things that you go, oh, wait a second,
Yeah. You're just looking at things backwards instead of forwards. You might see that they actually are the same. So, yeah, that's it. We still have a lot of hope.
I don't know if I ever told you, Karlee, but my it's not unsolved case, but my uncle was also murdered, a long time ago.
I don't know if you did ever tell me that.
Yeah, so I don't know the feeling of like wondering and all that because the guy was caught, right away and all that, but he's actually out now, surprisingly.
What, where, why, when, it's similar.
Yeah, it's just awful. So that's there's a lot of I lost a lot of friends and stuff like that. So I have a lot of reasons that kind of why I started doing this, but I understand a little. I never try to act like I fully understand what somebody's going through unless I've been through exactly that. But just know that I know what it's like to lose someone that you're very close to, and so you guys are obviously mother is a whole different level. But I'm just saying, you guys are not alone. We're here for you.
Taylor has a little baby now, and so I think she kind of views things a little differently, a little more maturely now, for sure. I mean, all of you, but especially her, I think.
It's a lot. Just the emotions on like a whole different spectrum. Yeah, from her point, if you just a whole world I wasn't able to understand before. Appreciate. Yeah.
Right.
And for me, she said, she's lived over half her life without mom now. I'm to the point where I'm almost her age that she was when she died, and that's
right.
That's a different perspective too. you know. So I think we both lost and learned a lot.
Yeah.
And all you can really do is kind of use what's happened to your mother as like as inspiration and something to carry on to make sure you do the best for your daughter and you're there for her and as safe as can be and teach her everything to stay safe. You know, that's how you can kind of try to find some kind of silver lining and have it carry on into the family and you know bring some positivity out of negativity and just
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, it's funny you say that about the age. Just one thing real quick and I'll let you go. You know how when you're young, like 12, 13, even like 20 sounds like super old.
Yeah.
My uncle when he died, he was I think 22. And
Oh, wow.
it's funny
Yeah.
because I remember being so young that I heard that and I remember thinking like, oh well, at least he was like an adult and he got to live like an old life, you
Oh,
know. And now obviously I'm almost 40. I'm like, oh my God, 22, you know. So like you say, you're almost your mom's age. You look at it totally different when you get to be those
absolutely,
ages. I'm
absolutely.
not a parent yet, so like Taylor, I don't know that feeling, but I can only imagine your view flips on everything.
You're a
So
dog parent. You're a dog parent. That
now
counts.
I'm a dog parent, yes. All right, guys. Again, we're gonna do one more show after this, but it's gonna be the celebration show. All right.
Yes.
Yes. Thank
All
you
right.
so much, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on, guys, for your strength. Just know we have a community here for you. We love you guys, and just stay strong, okay? And keep me updated as soon as you hear something.
Yes,
Thank you.
we will.
All
Thank
right,
you.
take care, girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've done a few shows with them. They're awesome guys. Great. Well, a few shows with Karlee, but that was my first time meeting Taylor. Very, very sweet girls. Um, so I try to. Karlee likes to come on and kind of, even if there's not a ton of new info, just because you know we're always getting more new people joining the channel, and you never know what's going to be that set of eyes to you know to that's going to be the set of eyes that know something. So I always like to have people come back on, so I hope you guys enjoy that when we catch up with people. Hey, what up, what's up, Jared? um, yeah, so thank you so much to everyone for joining today, guys. Let me go ahead and bring the new dog. Everyone's always asking about my dog. You saw him on the last show real quick. Hey buddy, come here. I almost brought him on earlier when I saw Karlee holding her puppy, but this is Riley. This is our new guy. For all you Toby fans out there, we have a new little buddy. But yeah, so I'm working on a lot of new things for the channel, guys. I'm going to keep doing the live interviews, but I also want to get some pre-recorded content up. Something where it's more like telling a story. I love doing these interviews, but I want to be able to kind of tell a story, kind of like John Lorden does on some shows, or people like that. Maybe have a little music in the background. So I'm working on some new things. I don't know if I'm going to do a second channel or just put it on there, but I'm really trying to diversify the content and grow the channel. I want everything I do, I want to do it a little different than everyone else does it. So I'm not 100% sure of how it's going to be done, but I'm going to make it. Oh, he always does that little whine when he yawns. I'm going to make it so that it's good stuff. I promise you that. Thank you to everyone who donated. I don't know if anyone did today. Let me see. I kind of couldn't keep an eye on it. I don't think so. I think there's a little star that usually comes up there if someone did. Okay. But if anyone does in the future, we appreciate you. You just click that little S under where you type. Such a gorgeous dog. Thanks, guys. Yeah, he's a Shih Tzu, so he's one of those dogs that he plays, and just falls asleep in the middle of playing. But I'm doing a lot of work on getting some new content here, guys. So doing the interviews as well as other stuff. So you'll be seeing new stuff very soon. I like the idea of storytelling. You know, like a 30-minute long video where we go over all the stories. I just don't want to do the same cases where there's already like 100 videos on it. You know, I want to feel like I'm making a difference in doing some smaller cases. So what I might start doing is finding people the way I already find them, but instead of just interviewing them, I might try to do a video on them first and kind of like what's his name there? He's from the UK or Scotland or something. I forget his name, but Mike O is his real name, right? I can't think of the channel name, but something like that. All right, guys. Cuddles for his daddy. Yeah. Riley's a good boy. He's still a puppy, though, so he has a lot of puppy tendencies. But thank you so much to everyone who joined us tonight. I will see you guys soon. And do an update video so much. Okay, Francis, let me just shoot me a message on Facebook. We're doing a lot of updates lately. I have about 2 more people already waiting for their update video. Like I told you guys, Charles Taylor's family is going to come back on. They got very sick the other day. I was supposed to do them. Oh, he just farted. Sorry, guys. I'm going to let you go. That's very strong. All right, guys. I love you. I will talk to you tomorrow.